When I heard yesterday that Donald Trump and the Republican cronies were getting together for a secret meeting in D.C. To be protected by the D.C. police that Donald Trump so famously protected on January 6th, imagine the day of work for those guys. But when I first heard about that meeting, it was basically confirmation of a thought that I've had since the beginning of these trials started going on. And that was simple, is Donald Trump needs to stack the deck for his benefit in every way, shape, or form. And the big stumbling block he had with these trials were like Fani Willis. Think of the extent that not only Donald Trump, but the Republicans went through to try and squash Fani Willis's office. That investigation with Wade, her finances, threatening to defund her office, accusing her of mishandling state funds and blah, 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 blah. They had to check, and they're still, and now Jim Jordan just launched something against her. Jim Jordan also just launched something against Alvin Bragg and the New York attorneys because they're state attorneys. Now, federal government doesn't have any control over state litigation and state penalties and state felonies and everything else. When Donald Trump first got all these things served, the first thing he wanted to do was put him in the federal world so he could have control over him, so he could be pardoned by either him or some of his buddies if it needed be. That was the main freak out. That is why Fani Willis case is so scary to him, more than any of the other ones, because it exposes him not only as a traitor for allegedly, but it's something that happens out of his control and out of his people's control. There's a badass district attorney who has earned her stripes and is, besides the Donald Trump case, she's handling the Young Thug case too. It's not all about Donald Trump, but he can't control her. The Republicans can't control her. So there had to be a way to try and figure out how to take that power out of the state's hands. So what was discussed at this meeting was legislation that the Republicans have already been working on that gives the president the power to take any state case and just elevate it to federal case. Think about that. Let me repeat that. Mike Johnson admitted yesterday in the press conference after they got their scripts from Donald J. Trump, if you listen to all of the speeches from the Republicans that were at this meeting, you will hear Trump's exact words coming out of their mouths over and over and over again. Everything. Like they got their scripts at this meeting. This is what you say. We know that's one of the things Donald Trump does because he did it in the court trial when all the Republicans showed up. There was ironically enough, a piece of paper with a Sharpie writing a script that Michael Johnson delivered word for word as per witnesses that were in the courtroom and saw him writing on the piece of paper sitting in court. Reporters, people who are trained for this stuff. So we know that happens. But listen to these speeches. They are Donald Trump's words from the podiums, from his rallies all over this country. They are his words. The Republican Party's united. There was 103,000 people. Mike Johnson got on and said there was 103,000 people in Wildwood, New Jersey. The venue only holds 20,000 people. It wasn't even at 50% capacity. And 1/3 of the way through it, a big, huge bunch of the audience left. You know why? Because they were being paid to be there. They were being paid to be there just like every other Trump event that he puts on is staged. Every single thing is staged. 1/3, 1/2 of the people at these rallies are paid to be there. He tried to pay 50 Cent $500,000 just to stand next to him in an inauguration day, just to stand next to him, not sing, not anything. And of course he didn't do it. He pays for this stuff. Now he has his Republicans reading the script he gave them, playing their part of the Donald Trump show. The Donald Trump show with the end game of putting him back into office so he could cash in on all the nefarious deals he has all over this world with all the dictators, with all the people, with all the assholes this country has tried to stay away from through its history. One man is going to bridge all those gaps. One man, and not in a good way. We have Russian ships off Miami right now. The fact of the matter is, Russia does yearly military exercises in the Caribbean. This has happened every year. That's just a fact. This year, however, Putin is laying it on because of all the political crap that they're trying to blame on Joe Biden. They even said in these speeches coming out of this secret rendezvous that was so special with DJT, their Cheeto Von Schitzenpants personal god, coming right out of there, they talked about Miami and the nuclear arsenal that's right outside our borders, and this never would have happened under Donald J. Trump and blah, 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 blah. This is all part of the plan. This is all part of the picture. This is all part of what the Republicans want people to see. Yes, there is an arms buildup at our border because the Russians are there. Even though every year they do military exercises outside of the Caribbean and they dock in Cuba and all that other stuff. This year in particular has been a little more volatile because of all the threats coming out of Russia for nuclear war, with all the threats coming out towards everyone else for helping Ukraine, with Donald Trump trying to take us out of NATO, and the overall let's unite the bad guys vibe the world has at the moment. And when I say that, it's because they're uniting at the moment. There are far right-wing governments being put in place in countries all over this world that never, ever would have gone in that direction before. It is happening in the US of A, which is the least likely country for it to happen. But divide and conquer was implemented. It was a PSYOPs 101, which is Vladimir Putin's specialty. And all of these nefarious people all over the world have shopping lists that they've always wanted from the United States, and now they get. Let's put all this into perspective. They're all working together to get this guy back in office. We need to make damn sure we vote in so overwhelming numbers that it doesn't matter. And for those who are blindly following somebody without even looking into any of the evidence against them, don't you dare call yourself a patriot. Don't you dare say America first. Call it what it is. It's Trump first, and in Trump you trust. Because your feelings have nothing to do with this country. It's ego. It's anger. It's frustration. It's whatever your excuse is. But if you did care about this country, you would definitely take more steps to make sure what you're so angry about is correct. Because if you did any actual research on the things you're being told, you would find out that there weren't 108,000 people at a rally in New Jersey. And the picture that you saw of a Rod Stewart concert in Rio de Janeiro with over 100,000 people at it had mountains in the background. And Wildwood does not. I grew up going there. I know it well. Not even 50% capacity of a 20,000 venue. Do the math. The Bronx, 80,000 people, there were barely 3. And they were paid. They were bussed in. This is all a show. And he hopes he can get his hands on the grand prize before people figure it out. And one big way to do that is to keep these trials out of the public eye, to keep the evidence out of the public eye. That's the big way to do that. Now he has the Republicans writing legislation giving the president the ability to force state cases to the federal level so they can be squashed. Really, people? This is all right with you. I don't care what you hate about the other side. That's what you actually want. Stay diligent, stay educated, be kind. We are all in this together. And the ramifications of this next choice will affect all of us for the rest of our lives and the rest of our children's lives. So we better make damn sure the vote we cast is the vote we mean, and we're doing it for the right reasons. God bless.